Hi, welcome to another Trailblazer Inc. podcast. Today with me, I have Chou Jennifer Phalivahn, an electrical apprentice out of Ontario. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity.
I'm so glad that you joined me. Now, the reason that we're doing the podcast, we haven't met before, but I did see a really awesome post of yours on LinkedIn. And I commented on it because I can't remember exactly what was said in that post. So I want you to fill us in a little bit about what that post was, because it was very energetic and you were very happy to have joined the trades. So do you remember what that post was?
It was actually kind of venting in a certain way and realizing that everything that I wanted was on the other side of fear and actually going forth with the career path that I've chosen and getting myself unstuck out of a rut that I was in. As far as getting into the trades goes, it was actually a really hard ordeal for me and easy to transition because I've always worked with my hands. So the post actually might have said a few things about my work ethics and my background working with my hands. I've done some trim carpentry, I've done some landscaping, and actually going full forth as an electrical apprentice. It was also a reflection of the hard times that I had getting to the point that I did from transitioning from one job to another, which I did now. But I was also switching to a midnight shift full time while I was doing school full time and moving within the process. So commuting such a distance. Long story short, with the post, I'm also not of the age that people think I am because I am 41. So it was better late than never. That was literally the post, and putting my heart into it and my soul, blood, sweat, and tears. I did it. I did it. I really did
Yes.
it.
And
That's
I'm
what the
glad you did it.
Thank you.
And you know, it goes to show that no matter what age you are, you can still join the trades and you can still be enthusiastic about it and you can still succeed at it, right?
Yeah.
It's not just for people fresh out of high school, or you know, we get a lot of people that have picked a career choice and gone to school for 5 years and hate their career choice and then they come. You know, if whether you're 30 or 40 or whatever age, you can still join the trades. And that's what I love. I actually just turned 50 not long ago. So I'm loving that you're not 50 yet, but you're
No,
not
how
you're
you know,
25. So nothing against 25-year-olds, but I'm so glad that you're joining the trades. It's just a fantastic thing to hear. And yeah, I just remember that post being like so positive. I was like, oh my God, I have to say something.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So my first question for you is, how did you get started in the trades?
Well, many years ago, I guess if you want to say a family influenced, my cousin Bing, she was working in a company and thought, they laid her off, and she came to me and thought I could help her just find part-time work. And I did. When her company ended up taking her back, she thought it was an opportunity for me to actually get into what she was doing. And she was doing panel wiring at the time. She was making good money. And that was something that obviously everybody thinks of, trying to support their family. And I did try to get into her company. And for whatever reason it may have been, that was just my taste of how I got into electrical to begin with. So, in order to get into her company, they changed certain protocols and prerequisites. It required me to actually take a panel wiring course conducted at Conestoga College. Even though it was out of pocket, I actually finished the final exam with a 98, and I think the course alone at 99. So
Wow.
not knowing ever, I didn't know that, I would be that influenced and intrigued into a trade that I've never dabbled into before. Um, and I didn't end up getting into her company, but it always resounded with me. And I thought to myself, if that was so much fun for me, I wonder what else I could do with it. And I left it on the back burner for so long, but that was just a taste of one part of the trades. That influencer is now a 442A licensed electrician. So congratulations to my cousin, because she was a massive influence in my life. For the trade that I got into as an electrician, I'm going for this 309A ticket.
Awesome. What a story. Hey. And you basically aced that. Like, oh my God. But
It
isn't
was
that
fun.
And you never would have tried it had she not suggested it. And once you dig into it, people don't realize how fun some of the trades can be, right? Like they think it's hard work and dirty and all this stuff. Like obviously you were so interested in it that you like aced
I
it.
loved it. I loved it. I loved the aspects of panel wiring. But what I didn't realize is that, you know what? There were some methods that I applied in that class in what I was learning as an electrician in the 309A, and it didn't apply. And I was just like, why? I thought it was right. And then the instructor, he gave me back my test and I'd get a zilch and he'd let me do it again. And I was like, why? So when I was telling him what I was thinking in my head. And when I told him, he said, no, they're two different schematics. And I was like, oh, well, I wouldn't have known, I wouldn't have known had he not told me because I thought that I could apply that to what I was doing. It was completely different. But now I know. Now I know. It wasn't because I was naive.
Yeah, well, and the electrician, there's so much to being an electrician that people don't realize, right? Like people, it's not just like changing out a socket. There's a whole lot more to it. And there's only so much that I will dabble in. I mean, welding involves a lot of electricity, but it's a whole different ball game. There's a lot going on, man. And I'm not going to even start talking because I don't know what I'm talking about when I talks about like even what you're talking about your levels, that I'm not familiar with that either, but good on you. I love to see that you're in it. So my next question for you is like, how far have you explored? Because you right now are an apprentice, but obviously you've done some things. So at what point in the game are you at?
As a first year apprentice right now and learning from the journeymen that I do, I don't get teamed up with just one journeyman. The ones that are licensed journeymans, I get teamed up with them on multiple projects. It all depends. So the day in the life that I have at work, it's never the same. It really isn't. Every day, I mean, the project itself we might be there for 3 days, but I've never encompassed or come across this type of work before. So to actually get my hands in it, to see the project from beginning to end, it's all a massive learning curve. But that's where I start asking questions, things that I learned in class to apply to what we're doing to the project, and the things that I did, the technical side of the skills and abilities that we use tools in class and to actually apply to the job. I at least have the opportunity to do that and then ask my questions as well.
Yeah, well, and that's another good thing about the trades. Most times you do get to have a variety and you're always learning and it's never boring. Sometimes you do get into positions where it is kind of monotonous, but hopefully you don't end up with that kind of thing too long. But yeah, one of my favorite things about the trades is every day is a different day. And usually there are more experienced people around that you can ask them the questions, whether it's a shortcut or why we're doing it this way and not the other way, or applying what you learned at school, right? Which is really cool. It's never boring. Never boring.
No, it's not. I think I lucked out with the company I ended up working with. I'm very, very fortunate to have not just the open opportunity to finish my coffee breaks, finish my lunch in a timely manner and not be stressed out. The opportunities that they've even allowed me to dabble in with them, obviously going to these projects, they're at residential, they're at schools, they're industrial, commercial. Whereas some of the classmates that I had are, they're apprentices, but they're stuck only strictly in industrial or strictly doing residential, not the combinations.
Yeah, that is exciting. Yeah, because that is what happens, right? You're either commercial or industrial, and that's that, right? No, it's good. I'm glad that you're learning a lot. And as a first year, yeah, you've got a few years left. How many years is it? Is it 3 or 4?
It's 3 levels, but a total of 5 years.
Okay.
Like the schooling in a certain aspect.
Okay. Yeah. So you're at the beginning of the apprenticeship journey, but still you're learning so much. You're almost ahead of the game, really,
I'm okay with that. I love it. I love learning though. I think you have to be a sponge.
You
You
do.
have to be inquisitive. You have to be inquiring. If you don't have the drive or the want or need, you really don't have goals to set for yourself. It becomes mundane and boring. And
Exactly.
you'll lose that focus and you'll want to do the next best thing that lights, keeps you lit.
Yeah, keeps you lit. Is that like an electrical twist little joke in there? Keeps you lit.
Honestly, no, excuse the pun.
That was a good one though. I like that. That was good. Keeps you lit. Okay. So what is the favorite aspect of your trade so far?
I get to play with tools. That's literally what it is. Figuring it out and playing with tools. I have been um, really happy being able to try new things out because the boys have all the tools, right? That like my journey people, when we show up to site, they're fully equipped. And when I'm looking at my little pack out and in terms of the equipment that I need or tools that I need, and they're like, "You want to try this?" I'm like, "Sure." Like get my hands really dirty.
Yes. Yeah. Isn't that, yeah, that is, I love to get dirty. We talk about the trade, summer clean, summer not so clean, but I mean, we're not talking filth, but yes, get in there. Get in there and
No,
have some fun, right?
playing with tools. I mean, I work on my own vehicle at home, right? So when I show up to the job site with my, yes, my Canadian Tire tools, and they're like, "Jen, don't bring that out." They're all Milwaukee boys. And I realized even when I was in trim carpentry, it seemed that everybody that was a carpenter had DeWalt tools. Now it seems like everybody in the electrical field is just completely Milwaukee. But I can see why in a certain way, obviously, now that I've encompassed the chance to work with their tools, why they choose Milwaukee. And because when they run out of batteries, they all share. They all have the same chargers. "Hey, my battery died. Can I use your charger?"
Yeah.
It's just simple in that manner, but I guess power and torque and
Yeah.
durability, man, they manhandle these tools dropped on the ground, anything of the sort. But durability, it looks like Milwaukee goes a long way with them.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of Milwaukee myself, so I have to agree with you.
Oh,
You're gonna have to
okay.
do a little
Well,
Milwaukee plug here, hey?
slowly but surely building my pack out to not necessarily appease them, but
Well, you're a
hopefully.
first year. I mean, first years, you're making a percentage of the journeyman rate, right? You can't be having the best of the best tools just yet. You'll get
No,
there.
I tell them, listen, the tools that I have does the job. My
Yeah.
screwdriver is no different than your screwdriver. I'm doing the job.
Well, and the funny thing about being a tradesperson, for your birthdays and Christmas and whatnot, you always ask for tools. Yeah, I want like a Milwaukee drill, right? My mom and
You
dad
always
used to
have
get
this
me tools
here.
for Christmas all the time. It was
Yeah,
great.
I was thinking of what to put in my own stocking stuffer.
That's right. Milwaukee all the way. We'll see if there's a Milwaukee actual stocking itself. I bet you there is.
I wonder if there is. I'd love to have it.
I'm gonna look that up for you. There you go. So
Thank
next
you.
question for you are what obstacles have you overcome along the way?
Oh my. Without not burning bridges,
Yeah.
uh, obstacles along the way. The transition from doing school. Now, I did a pre-apprenticeship program first. So, unlike traditional apprenticeships where you do, I guess, your hours and then you go to class, I did the theory part first. And then, and now I'm banking my hours at first year. The obstacles that I had along the way was actually trying to figure out the scheduling because I didn't want to lose and forfeit my full-time job, obviously for responsibilities as an adult, taking care of things as an adult. So switching to the midnight shift while I was doing full-time school, there were times, and it was in my post. I went to bed with maybe, I know it sounds a little bit dangerous, but I had maybe 3.5 hours tops for the last 4 months of sleep while I was commuting to work, back at home, back at school. But it was something that I really, really wanted to do. I was on a wait list actually for 2 years before the pre-apprenticeship program went through at Mohawk, but that was because COVID hit as well. And
Mm.
when it finally did go through, I use the analogy of buying a pair of jeans. If I really want a pair of jeans, I wait 2 weeks. And if I really want them, then I'll buy them. I thought maybe if I was on this wait list, let's see what happens after 2 years. Would I still be interested in doing it? I was the first person at the open house, and the director, Debbie, she still remembered me. So the day of our virtual graduation, she remembered me and gave me a huge shout out and just let everybody know actually that I might have been the only individual in our class that held a full-time job and did what I did.
That's
Although
very impressive.
it was a
Yeah.
massive feat for me. It was a massive feat. My classmates couldn't um, figure out how I did it. And I said it was sheer willpower to leave where I was. I was at a stalemate with growth, and that was really stunting me. It was, you know, I don't want to say it was putting me into a depression, but I started thinking about things in my life that I could have got I could have done better? Or was I not given ample opportunity? Or the major thing I was looking for was honestly an honest opportunity. And to be given that, I had to give myself an honest opportunity as well to say goodbye. I was, with the company for 7 years loyally. I was one of the best employees that they had. And without putting the name out there, having to say goodbye was one of the hardest things. But still, working with the schedule, and that was a massive, massive obstacle for me. Now, in terms of the employment that I'm doing right now for obstacles, everything's an obstacle, but I always ask questions, and that's okay.
Yeah, well, and that's what you're supposed to do. And when your apprenticeship is over, that doesn't mean the questions are over. You still forever will ask questions, because working in the trades is never boring. Every day is a new day. And especially when you're working with different people, you have somebody new come on, then you want to like be a sponge with them, right? And see what they know and see if they'll share their little secrets or tricks and tips and stuff like that. So now, and I'm really glad that you took the opportunity to join the trades, because sometimes, whether we're being hard on ourselves and giving ourselves a little what for, and saying, you know what, you may have missed some opportunities, but we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to take every opportunity we have. We're going to switch things up at whatever point in the game we are, and we're going to go for it, and we're going to work our asses off to get there. And that's exactly what you did. You worked your ass off and you got there. And I can tell by the look on your face that you're very proud of yourself, because I was going to say, if you're not, you should be, but you are. So that's good.
I am really proud of myself. And it was something, well, personally, I have never done anything that has been this fulfilling for myself. I mean, I've dabbled in a lot of things, like I've said, in being at the age that I'm at. I didn't know exactly when I was younger if there was really a given path for me. I didn't really sit down and think like, hey, I wanted to be a lawyer, wanted to be a doctor. I just really wanted to get my hands in everything that I could, because I'm just that type of person. I always loved learning. And I mean, I used to drive food around, kind of like they call it Uber now, but it wasn't. It was Roadrunners back then, just
Okay.
not even too long ago, like maybe 20 years ago. I was a Roadrunner, putting
Yeah.
bringing food to people, delivering pizzas, then somehow getting into trim carpentry, and then dabbling into landscaping. I didn't want to do that. Then the last company I was working with for 7 years, building HVAC units. Then taking that and applying the mechanics that doing stuff on my car. I was always going to the wreckers for fun to pull out things and then put it in my car. I like doing things like that.
Well, it's funny you would say mechanics, because I was just talking again yesterday about, if I wouldn't have got into welding, and I'm fourth generation, so I just followed my dad's footsteps. I wanted to be a mechanic, and it would be all old vehicles, because I too like to drive by the auto wreckers and think, oh, it'd be so much fun to just go and tinker in there. And I've done a few things just with a couple of older vehicles I had. I needed a stupid thing to hang my spare tire from. Nothing mechanical by any means. It was all cosmetic stuff. But I just think that stuff is so fun. I wish you didn't live in Ontario, because you and I'd be like hanging out.
Go to the
But
wreckers.
it's really funny. You were saying something too just now about, you didn't know your path.
No, I didn't.
My cat's deciding to be a weirdo, scratching
I
on.
left mine out of the room. Lito's outside. I have a kitten too. What
Oh,
do you
dear.
have?
Yeah, I don't know why he wants to go in my closet, but he wants to go in my closet now. So if you hear scratching, he's not in the litter box. Anyways, no, you just said something about you didn't know your path, and something that we did talk about before the podcast. Speaking of our paths, maybe your path is to inspire other women. I kind of think that that's part of my path, because I kept getting pulled into positions to speak to other women about my journey into the trades. And I've done it as a single mom, and I've done some other things too. And it wasn't easy. Your path to get to where you are now, as an apprentice even, was not easy, but you did it and you went there. And I think sharing your story might be part of your reason, your purpose too. So keep that in the back of your mind as you go through your journey. Right. I think your story is very inspiring, and I think it'd be really great if you shared it on any platform, whether it's podcasts or LinkedIn or going to speak at schools, right? Why not? I think you should do it for sure. Anyways, right? I think you're very inspiring, and I don't even know you. This is the first time we've talked.
You know what? I can't take all the credit now for everything that I did to get to where I was. my classmates also assisted me, like a band of brothers, but this is like a band of sisters. That we started off with 20 girls in a class. It was strictly all girls. I think 13 of us finished. They also helped me. They knew when I fell asleep on Zoom, they knew that I was so tired from work. And obviously getting off at 7:30 and then having Zoom from 8 till 5. Like, how did I do it? Well, yeah, there were times where I did fall asleep, and some of my instructors knew that I was going through a hardship, but it wasn't the hardship. It was a matter of still staying consistent to do the work. I did my homework and my assignments when they needed to be. I showed up for lab. Yes, I was tired. I tried to still be good to myself in terms of trying to sleep in on the weekends and still try to do homework on top of that. And that was the other thing. I didn't just finish class. I mean, when I was done that Zoom meeting at 5 o'clock, I had homework to do. Not to mention that I had to leave here where I live now at 9 p.m. to start my shift for 11. So it was a round the clock type thing for the last 4 months on such little sleep. And where I was getting my assignments done, my girls would, hey, Jen, do you need this note? And I said, I didn't hear this part. Yes, I fell asleep. They were there for me. But at the end of the day, I did the work.
Yeah.
They gave to me, they were there for me. They were so supportive. And I couldn't have done it without them. So with that in mind, I wanted to, if the girls ever see this, thank you so much. You guys were a massive inspiration and a part of my life. And obviously the stepping stone to the things that we did in class to get to where we are now.
It's great that you had a support team. And I think that's what we need to be for the next generation, is to be their support, right? I really think that that's really important to help each other out, right? Reach out and lift each other up instead of, some of this negative talk that we find sometimes on internets and websites and stuff. Start being nicer to each other. Sounds like you had a great team, a really great team.
I had an awesome group of girls and mentorship. It was awesome.
And that's part of my next question for you is, did you have other women you could look to for support? So in your class, obviously you did. Are you working with any women right now?
I am actually the only female in my company besides the receptionist. That doesn't count, but being actually in the field, I believe I am the first he's ever hired as a female.
Well, and you are making a great representation. I remember way back when I was the first on a lot of the job sites, and to me that was so important to make a good impression on the company so that they'll hire more. Right? Because a lot of people are reluctant to hire women. They don't know if it's going to be an issue. They don't know what they have to, bring special treatment for the women. All I asked for was a separate bathroom from the guys. Yeah.
For me, it was just an honest opportunity.
Yeah.
Don't treat me different. I don't care for the locker room talk. I mean, sometimes I might dabble into that too, but it's not, on a personal level. Just don't treat me different. I'm still human. That's what it was. At the end of the day, we all have the same skill sets. I might learn at a different rate than you do, but I can still do it.
Yeah.
I'm just still an individual that wants to do the job and wants to do the work.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Okay, next question. What does a day in your life look like now? We heard about your school life. What about now?
All right. So when it comes to work and, sometimes I'm skipping breakfast, we actually use an app, which is amazing. It's called Jobber. It entails where we need to be, what time we have to be at. The address is given to us, whatever location we're at and whom we're teamed up with. So it's literally also a punch clock. So there's a timer in and then a timer out. So first I'll set my alarm in the evening, obviously, because my boss usually has it up on Jobber where I'll be the next day around 7 p.m. So that gives us obviously plenty of time to figure out, hey, this is the route I need to take, what time I need to wake up. When I get to the job site, I've got my tools already in the trunk of my car. I mean, I have my most basic tool sets. The guys usually have their pack outs, which is fine, right? I'm building my pack out. When I get to the job site, I find out who I am teamed up with and figuring out from there what exactly we look at the project together, where we need to be, understanding each other's skill sets. Like for me, for instance, as a first year, they know what I'm capable to do and things that I'm not comfortable with. They'll always ask me if I'm comfortable at this height, if there's anything I need tool wise, I can go to them and ask if I need to do it. So we literally get a lowdown on what exactly the project entails, for the baby steps, each task that needs to be done and who it's allotted to. If I need help, they have no issues helping me whatsoever or showing me. They really, really don't. They almost seem like they're my brothers. And that's where I lucked out again with the company that I work for, because they treat me like a baby sister. Not, but I don't want to say it's because I'm a girl either. I mean, I want to play that card, but I don't.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. So when we're at, the job site and we're there, time flies. I cannot believe how it's already first break or lunch, and we have to take our lunch because Ministry of Labor says, after 5 hours, you have to take your lunch. We're like, but we just got to the site. You know what I mean? Not even just the drive time, but it could be setting up. There are companies that we work for where we haven't even touched like we started the job at 7, didn't get to touch our tools till 10, and that was because the prep work that was required.
Yeah.
I just literally jump in, hands on deck. What can I do to help out? It literally is just that simple. Can I help you bring your tools in? It's not to kiss butt.
Yeah.
We're there to help each other out. Like we're
You're a
getting a
team.
project done,
You're a
and
team, right?
carry that ladder for you. It's not a big deal. What they have noticed though, and when my boss hired me, I told him this is going to be a great opportunity for you to see my OCD, because I had other contractors that were working in the same project as us. It could have been the framers, and they joked around. They're like, "We've never seen an electrician pick up a broom," because at the end of the workday, I know we're stripping wires, but I like picking them up.
Yeah.
So the site is clean at the end of the day, and the guys are like, cleaned up the site, and they're like, Jen did. they
That's perfect.
and they've never seen it. And I said, it's small things like that,
Yeah.
because it worked out in our favors a couple of times where the site was spotless, but I could relate to the homeowner who was female. I mean, her and her husband, like, we're walking upstairs on her carpet with our boots on, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if this was my house, I would cry, because drywall all over the carpet. Like, I felt terrible, and I'm sitting there with the vacuum. I was like, why don't I just put that impression out there, because I'm representing my company, not just because I'm a girl or exhausting my OCD. It was a kind thing to do. It was just a gesture. It was just a courtesy. But she told my boss about it, and my boss was just like more than happy,
Yeah.
to
That's
like,
yeah.
job. It was just initiative at the same time, but it was no sweat. It was
Yeah.
really, I was able to be me. I was able to be.
Exactly. That's perfect. I'm glad that your OCD actually works with your job, but that's being professional as well. If you're professional, then you leave the area clean, right? And then it does give a good reputation to the company and you as a worker, right? Because
It
I
does.
mean, yeah, that's all part of the job. You need to clean up after yourselves, and so let the OCD work for you, right?
And
Take
it was no sweat
advantage.
off my back, but I think the boys have learned to appreciate that now, because at the end of the day, when they're like, pack up, and they're like, Jen's already did it. They're like, what? Okay, well, we get to leave now. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's just nice. It's just really nice. I haven't had a hard time about cleaning.
Yeah.
Who's going to give you a hard time about cleaning? I'll never understand that.
No. Well, and something else you just said too, when the day goes by really fast, that's a
Mhm.
good feeling, because some days are really slow, and that's very rare. When the day goes by fast, you've been busy and it's a good day and you feel fulfilled, right? You're like, oh
Yeah,
my God.
productive, fulfilled. I got to bang in not just my hours, but I get to go home to my family at a good time. I'm not stressed out anymore about doing midnight shift, coming home at 7 in the morning, and my partner just has woken up. It doesn't feel good. I want to be home with my family
Yeah.
at good hours and good times to be with them.
Well, and the trades will allow you to do that. And like we've said earlier, you're an apprentice now, your wage is only going to get better. The benefits are only going to get better. Your experience is going to improve your skill set. And whether you stay with this company or you move on to another one, those skills it's only going to get better and better and better and better, and more proud of yourself and cooler.
I'm really, really happy, because when you were just talking about wage and being at a percentage of a journeyman's rate, that's the last thing actually on my mind. When I started with the company and whatever my rate is, uh, as soon as I got to work, every day since I've started with them, I've never, yes, we get paid whatever it is, bi-weekly or whatnot. But it's the last thing on my mind, thinking this is what I'm getting paid. I'm actually going to work enjoying what I do and knowing that we're doing something kind of fun, if you want to say. It
Yeah.
is fun.
Yeah.
And when the time passes and it's time to go home, it's like, wait, what? But I really want to kind of finish this project or do a little bit more. But it's like, no, Jen, we're going home, like let's pack up, let's go end of the day. Oh, you've already packed up, let's go home now. It's like, what? It's 2 o'clock. But it well, we got to drive home and that's fine. I get to pick up a coffee along the way. I get to call my partner and tell her how my day is. I'm not capped at a 10-minute time for break.
Yeah.
Not because my breaks are longer. Don't get me wrong. It's just I'm open to finish my coffee or my cigarette. That's my bad habit. I'm sorry.
That's all
I,
right.
yeah.
But I think
In peace.
when you're content and happy with what you're doing, things like the wage doesn't matter, but it's a nice bonus. And I never promote the trades for the money that we make. I always do say that it is a wage that we can live off of and have nice things. The wage is a bonus. Being proud of yourself and doing something that you enjoy doing for a living is a bonus. But a lot of times when we do have these good paying jobs, we get benefits, retirement packages. We have a dental plan, a medical plan, all of that stuff, no matter where you live or work, because every province has its own setup for benefits. And a
Yeah.
lot of podcasts are shared through the states too, so they have their own benefits and healthcare and stuff like that too. So when you've lived a long time and you don't have medical and dental benefits and then you get it, it's like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I can take my son and get his teeth cleaned and it's only going to cost me like 10% if even, or 20% instead of like the whole, whatever it is in your area or whatever, right? It's the benefits are just wonderful like that, right? But the best part for me being in the trades is being proud of yourself and actually enjoying getting out of bed and going to work. And it sounds like you 100% are there.
I do. I mean, the hardest part about my day really is waking up. Plain and simple. But I was sleeping. I have to wake up for work. But it's not waking up for work now. It's just the wake up portion is the hardest part. Once I'm already in my routine and I'm off to work, I'm happy go lucky. I can't believe that I'm actually in the field that I am in at the age that I'm at to even start something and make something of myself. But that's where I am really, really proud of the efforts that I put in. And it's something that I can be proud to tell my mom, something that she has finally got to see, thinking that, oh, I was not going to do anything with my life. Not that I didn't have a path again. I really didn't know what path, but she was worried for me. What was I going to do for the rest of my life? How was I going to retire? What was I going to live off? Was I going to go from job to job really and keep afloat? I've always stayed and remained employable with all the skill sets that I've had under my belt.
Yeah.
But from my mom to see that degree and to push myself, like we both bawled our eyes out just when I got from Mohawk College in the mail the exemption for first level, having that certification to finish first level. I cried so hard saying, I did it. I cried so hard inside because it was really in the pit of my gut, something that I really wanted, and I actually did it. I can say I did it. I didn't get into it and then try to skip corners or push my limitations and then back out. I've done that before. In a way, maybe my story is a little bit different because, to be honest, this might have been my fourth attempt going to school. I have always pushed my boundaries in a certain way and then backed out, thinking, oh, this was a little too easy to get into this field. But I was just playing around. Why didn't I go full fledged into the career? I'm not entirely sure. I don't have the answer for that. But
That's
again,
okay
it was
now.
literally at least knowing myself that I wanted to get my hands in everything. I was just that type of person with no real true path, not thinking about it. It was just, I stayed employable. That's literally what it was.
Yeah.
Getting into this field, it was a game changer with having my attention, my focus, retention span, and actually getting involved and staying. It's an emotional thing for me.
Well, it's your time. It's your time. We haven't, I think since we started recording, we haven't talked about your exact age. I know it was in the pod or in the post on LinkedIn. You can say it if you want.
I
I
did say it. I am 41. I'm
I think
41.
that I don't think there is an age limit to joining the trades, and you are proof of that. And you speak very highly of your choices. You're very proud of yourself, which is very huge. And I really think that a part of your calling is speaking to underrepresented groups like ourselves to join the trades. I think that your story is very moving, and you're just at the beginning of your story. Like, I can't wait. We need to do a podcast in 5 years, and we'll see where you're at, and you're going to be like glowing even more, and you're even more proud of yourself, and then you're going to have a whole lot more stories to share. So I really think that part of your shtick, your story, your purpose is to bring more women into the trades. So keep that in the back of your mind as you go.
Ladies, if you see this, this is what my motto was, literally, to get into the trades, or at least into the career path that I did. It was everything that I wanted was on the other side of fear. I just had to figure out a way to get there, and I did it.
You did, and you're here. It's wonderful. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we're down to the final 2 questions that I have for you for the podcast. Do you have any advice for others that may be looking to join the trades?
Yes, I do. One, it's just a tip. Don't worry about having all the tools that you think you need off the hand. There are government grants out there that I didn't know about. Even when I was in school, we were told about this and that. It comes along with the territory, of course. The guys or I don't want to just say guys, the guys and girls will always be able to help you out. Your journey people, you don't have to go out and get all the tools all at once. Take your time doing things right. Get it done right the first time, neatly, and keeping it a repetition. It's just good. It's a good skill to keep doing things neat and tidy. It doesn't matter what pace you're doing it at, because you're going to get faster as long as you could keep your repetitiveness. What other tips can I give, to be honest? If you're losing the drive and finding inspiration, I'm actually going to take this from somebody off our LinkedIn account. I'm not sure if we have the same mutual friend, but somebody that's on my LinkedIn account wanted to actually quit her final week in school, and she actually reached out to the public, and she had an abundance of support come through that actually assisted her in pushing her through her final week for whatever reason it was that she wanted to quit. Try your best no matter what. And my cousin told me this, which is a piece of advice. 90% of it is showing up to do the work. It really, really is. 100% is, that is you all the way, but 90% of it is you showing up and doing the work. If you don't show up and don't do the work, you cannot expect the results that you expect. You really can't. So as far as longevity for advice, just keep at it. Really. Don't give up. Keep at it. Because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
I say that. I say that a lot.
Everybody has a different method of doing things as well. Not everybody is correct. It's not about being correct. It's, we're doing things to a code and getting the job done. But if you see something that is not right and not in place, make the phone call, go up the chain of command to get it done right. Because you don't want the next person, like, for instance, we just left a job site and I couldn't believe it. I've never seen a pull box or a junction box with wires that were moretted off with electrical tape, and there was an extension cord in this box, and it was live through the ceiling. I mean, that was scary for me as a first year because I don't deal with live wires, but just seeing that and being able to talk to my journey people and like knowing, what do we do after this? Well, who do we talk to? If you see something wrong just in the split instance, say something. Don't leave it for the next electrician, because it's going to be, you know what I mean, the weight on your shoulders if you could have stopped something.
Exactly.
Safety is still number one, no matter what. Even my own safety.
Yeah.
Have my safety gear with me. I try to at all times, right? But yeah, so that's the piece of advice I have.
That's a lot of really, really good advice. Really good advice. I like it. Thank you very much. Okay, so the final remarks are yours. If there's anything else you want to share about your story or advice for others or anything, last comments are yours.
it doesn't matter what age, realistically. And I say that because you don't want to chase false dreams that'll leave you stranded. That's one thing. You can't be a mechanic, for 50 years of your life and say all of a sudden you wanted to be a surgeon. It doesn't work that way. Just like me, I never figured out what my path was. And now being 41 and actually taking a driven career path that I'm proud of, it does take time, but I had to give myself hope as well. Give myself a chance and be honest with yourself. If you can look in the mirror and be honest with yourself and know your true colors, at least you can start from knowing who you are inside out and then going with it. It will come, figuring out what your dream goal is. It does take time. It took me so long to figure it out, and I finally did it, but it was so fulfilling and worth it. The prosperity in the end of being happy, it was my ultimate goal, not just because I wanted a career path, but I wanted to ultimately be happy as well. And that's where I plan to go.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're
as
on
a
the right path.
yeah, I'm proud, and I'm going to keep at it. I know I'm going to struggle, but I mean, I've had, again, my cousin who was my inspiration to get into the trades. Besides not having all my tools, the little tidbits that she's given me, she said my first year is going to be my hardest year. Why? And I realized that because, one, I'm learning a trade that I've never dabbled into, right? And I keep saying the word dabble because, again, I didn't know if I was going to go forth all the way and be committed or pull back. I wanted to see if I wanted to really do it and see what my skills were at. If it held my interest was another thing. And it did. So having the interest in what you do, you'll find obviously the passion for it to continue, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love it. I love it. And I think you're on the right path, and I think you're happy, and I think you're going to stick with it. And I'm going to hold you to a five-year from now. We're going to have another podcast. And we'll see where you are. Well, you'll be running a job somewhere. You'll be foreman running the show, I bet.
See, I'll probably still want to get dirty. I just want to see if I'll have wrinkles here and here.
I doubt it. Unless they're just from smiling. First
year is going to be the hardest year, is what she told me, or literally was. And even if that was not true, you gotta, learning the trade is one thing, the aspects of the trade is another. The theory portion and then applying it is a different kind of education that you have to teach yourself. And then it was getting into the trades and actually doing the work. Now, getting your hands and doing the work is completely different, because now we're talking technicalities. We're talking about dexterity. And I'm really small. Not only am I the only girl on crew, I'm also the smallest on crew. So finding equipment to fit me, whether it was my harness or gloves, have been so hard. So if there's anybody that sees this podcast and knows where to get size 5 gloves, not in pink, just regular size 5 working gloves. I'm not sure if Milwaukee makes them that small, or any company out there. That's where I find one obstacle as a girl, just because I'm really small and dainty.
Yeah.
That's just one thing. Like, my hard hat looks so bulky on me. Yes, and my harness when I'm up high for working at heights. Yeah. One of the guys happened to have a harness that was massive, and I was like, I can't wear this. It's not safety.
Yeah,
it's not safety for me.
Yeah, no, we do actually. We have a Facebook page called Alberta Women in Trades, and I thought that they started an Ontario Women in Trades Facebook group, and that's where that is really wonderful. I don't even know how big. Last time I checked the numbers in the Alberta Women in Trades page, there were at least 1,200 members, and it's only women. And that's the kind of things that they share. Hey, I found small, size 5 gloves at this place. And that's the kind of thing. So look into that. Check those out if you're on Facebook, for sure. If I find any size 5s, I'll send them your way. Yeah.
5.5, something like that. Like, the guys keep getting me Milwaukee medium size. I was like, guys, they don't fit. They're like this long on my fingers. I was like, I got to cut them off, and that's pointless, Yeah. Exactly. I don't want to work bare hands, because again, I just hate paper cuts already, and working with metal. No.
No, I know, I hear you. But you know, being petite on a job site has its benefits as well. I was always one of the more slim. I'm tall, but I used to be a lot more slim than I am now. But being slim, you get put in all those places that the big guys can't fit. The big
Yeah,
workers can't fit.
that
So there's
actually,
benefits to being small.
yes, I think that was a benefit for my boss for hiring a girl. A project that we had 700 employees there. It was a chocolate factory. That's all I'll say. And we were doing retrofits there. And there was about 4,000 retrofits, first of all, and one of which the girls' change room needed to be done. And it turned out the men's change room was much smaller. So when the guys came out and they're like, Jen, did you do the change room yet? I said, I can't do it like you guys. And I said, how many lights do you have? And they said, oh, maybe 15 or something. And I said, I have 55 plus. Not only do I have 55 plus, they didn't want any men there. They didn't want any men in the change room because it was such like the rotating shifts. They always had an abundance of people going in and out. So to be the only girl to be able to do that, it gave me a chance to shine as well, to see what I can do because I was learning, to see what I can do in a timely manner, but to see what other obstacles that I faced that I had to conquer myself. Now, the guys didn't know. The change room itself had like a 4 cubicle kind of split, and the lights were more than 8 feet high. I needed to get an 8 foot ladder in there, but their company had safety protocols in place where I could only use an A ladder, I believe it was called, and a platform ladder. So when you expand a platform ladder to spread its legs out, I need almost a 10 feet span that's going to fit in a 4 foot space. I can't. These lights were, if not 8 feet to 12 feet long. I'm taking this ladder from one end to go to the other end of the light, back and forth, back and forth. It's literally walking. I needed 2 8 feet ladders in there and still to try to stick to their safety protocols and get these lights done in a timely manner by myself. I managed to, I think, pull it off in 10.5 hours total.
Holy, yeah.
Just being consistent. I even forfeited my breaks. I did my lunch break anyways, because I was like, guys, you guys can't be in here. As long as they let me in here, if this is the time that I have, then I took it upon myself. I took the initiative to do that, to finish up what I needed to do. That was my chance to shine.
Yeah, and sounds like you
And
did.
obviously be a girl, right? To prove that as a first year with myself.
Yeah, and you did. You proved it right there. That's awesome.
That
Awesome.
was a bonus for them to have a girl on crew to be able to do that. Now, there was a funny incident, whereas one of my colleagues said, hey, Jen, you can help out in the guys' change room. And I was like, are you swear? It's like, yeah, nobody's in here. Nobody's in here. And just as I got to the end of the door, the exit sign where he was, there was a gentleman with his pants down. And I looked right at him in the eye and I was like, I am so sorry. And I really wanted to strangle my colleague for that.
Whoops. Whoops.
That was funny. And this is why I think it's different. Guys kind of don't care. Yes, you're there to do a job. And yes, I'm a girl walking through the guys' change room, but it's not the same vice versa.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No. And there's a little camaraderie. I'm glad that everybody could laugh it off, right? I mean, there's, sometimes we have these whoopses and we're all brothers and sisters and it's just like, okay, well, whatever. Now we know.
Now I know. That was a lesson learned. Now I know.
Yeah, that's one for the books. You'll never forget it, and neither will that guy anyway. Right?
No, and I will never see him again. That's okay.
That's okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. That was so much fun. I mean, we've never met before. What a great conversation we had. We have to stay in touch.
We will.
Yes, we will. We have to. I'm going to stop recording now, but don't go anywhere because I need to talk. Everybody that does a podcast gets a free shirt and stuff. So we'll talk about that in a second. Okay. Well, thank you so much. You take care. And I'm holding you to the 5-year mark. So thanks for sharing your story and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you.